From making a lot of the drivers look bad to dramatizing the smallest in the sport, Drive to Survive hasn't had the best reputation. But you can't deny that it's also given Formula One unprecedented popularity. So, how did DTS change F1 forever? Before Netflix's Drive to Survive, Formula One was a relatively unknown sport. A few select people from all over the world would watch it. It was mostly successful with old people. And to top it all off, viewership had been declining. Which didn't make sense, right? 'Cause it's a darn good sport. It's got action, thrill, and drama. So it's something that really should have been a lot more popular than it was. But nope, the sport's future was in danger. Enter Netflix. Netflix made a docu-series on F1 talking about all the drama in the sport, and it catapulted F1 into massive popularity, to the point where it's become a global phenomenon. Right now, for example, we're at the first race of the season. But so many fans will be thinking about what happened in 2022, since the new season of DTS sheds light on that year's championship. Season 5 of the show sheds light on some of the biggest stories, such as Fernando Alonso moving to Aston Martin, the whole Oscar Piastri saga between Alpine and McLaren, and of course, how could I not mention this, the whole outrage surrounding Red Bull's budget cap breach. The series was so entertaining, it made the sport a global success. Most importantly, it made the sport popular in America, the richest country in the world, where no one watched F1. That market was just super important for F1 to capture. And now that it has, the sport sees the benefits in terms of sponsorship money. There's a reason that DTS was able to do that, and that's because it was a show for all comers. So here's what happened. In 2017, an American company, Liberty Media, bought the commercial rights for F1. Taking a look at the success of All or Nothing and Last Chance, the company saw an opportunity to give motorsports the same treatment.
Liberty Media's president and CEO. Greg, always good to have you. Let's start off on Vegas 2023.
Now think about it. The issue with motorsports was that its viewership was dwindling, so Liberty took a massive gamble. But it worked out oh so well for them. When it came to DTS, accessibility was priority number one. Unlike All or Nothing, which focused on a single team throughout a season, F1 preferred a series that would cover the whole grid. Now, F1's a super secretive sport, cause you don't want other teams to kinda know what you've been up to in terms of car development and strategy. So teams were quite hesitant to take part in the whole thing. Ferrari and Mercedes sat out season 1, but that made the docu-series even more fun, cause they would focus on the mid and bottom tier teams, and that kind of made everyone take interest in the whole sport, not just whoever's in the championship battle. But after the first season, even Mercedes and Ferrari realized that this show won't be about front wings, telemetry analysis, and tire degradation. In fact, it was a way to engage with fans who did not know of motor racing. And this changed F1 forever, because this approach broke the sport away from its older male audience. According to a global survey conducted in 2022, the average age of F1 had fallen from 36 in 2017 to 32. On top of that, female participation doubled. This show resonated with a younger and more diverse demographic. And while an avid F1 fan will love the series too, it's actually more interesting to see how non-fans have become fans. In fact, the shift in the fan base ended up surprising Netflix as well, cause the audience that showed up to watch the show was very different from the audience that they targeted initially. And now that season 5 is here, it's reignited the love for the sport, and it brought in a new audience. But this didn't just happen as a coincidence. The reason why DTS changed F1 is cause people like people. Yep, it's that simple. The show has used personalities to tell the story of the sport, and that's worked well. This has been the secret sauce to the success of the show. For example, viewers are such big fans of Daniel Ricciardo's creative, random singing, or Gunther Steiner's colorful language. When it comes to Gunther, people fell in love with him from the first episode, where he called his team
Umbrella. Yeah. That took off my ego, standing there with an umbrella, it's like...
In the show, we also get to see drivers celebrate their first wins, their 100th wins, their first titles. We even see them deal with terrible defeats, and in the series' rawest points, deal with the deaths of their friends and their loved ones. And this has helped fans see athletes as human beings, which has helped to create this sort of connection with them. Because of this, so many people now watch the sport religiously, and this has also impacted how teams make decisions. Take a look at Daniel Ricciardo, for example. When he was let go from McLaren, he was left without a seat. And while Red Bull didn't have an empty seat, they did give him the reserve driver role. Except he won't just sit around waiting for Max or Sergio to get sick or something. He's going to be actively participating in marketing duties. And that's only happening because fans loved him in the show so darn much, they'd hate to see him go. Later on, everyone's love for Ricciardo could also mean that the Austrian squad replaces Sergio with him. Here's another interesting thing that happened because DTS tells the stories through people. It's changed the definition of a winner. Initially, the winner was whomever came first. But now that it's highlighted everyone's struggles and the battles for midfield, it has changed that definition. For example, Kevin Magnussen took pole in Brazil, and for many fans, that was a win. Even the sports producer has stated that, "We want to make people fall in love with Kevin Magnussen as much as they're in love with Lewis Hamilton." He also stated, "The athletes are the heroes, and if you put them at the heart, you can make audiences fall in love with them." But that's not the only way the show changed the sport forever. It also turned new fans into avid supporters. The show took off in 2020 when viewers were hungry for more content, but they couldn't go to races, which was a good thing, cause it built hype and it created excitement. So when in 2021 fans of the sport could attend, they snapped up tickets and they snapped them up fast. For example, the Austin Grand Prix has been sold out for both years since returning, and the demand for seats has been so crazy that race officials keep coming up with ways to find new seats. Plus, the drivers and teams have also leaned into all of this. For example, Danny Rick shows up on shows like The Daily Show and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Teams have also turned cherished moments into merch, and they actively use social media to connect with their fans all the time. Even Sergio noted how good this has been for the sport, and he talked about how no matter where he is, he sees the sport getting more popular. On top of that, it's also getting more popular in America, which will help bring lots of money into the sport. And that, folks, was everything on how DTS changed Formula One.